Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to remove the coolant reservoir on a GMC Envoy. This should be the same process on all GMC Envoys with the 4.2-liter engine ranging from 2002 to 2009. So why exactly am I removing the coolant reservoir here? I'm removing the coolant reservoir because I have a coolant leak at the heater valve control, which is located under the coolant reservoir. The heater valve control is really straightforward to replace, but getting to it is a big pain in the butt. Hit that subscribe button and show your support to my channel. It really helps me out. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, so let's see if we can make it there. For this project, you're going to need a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, a 13mm socket, and a 10mm socket. Gloves are optional. Start off by removing the small stabilizer bar above the airbox using a 13mm socket. Now the airbox is free. To remove the airbox, there are two Phillips head screws holding it in place. Locate them and remove it. You may also have a third screw there, so just scope the area to see what you got. Gently lift the airbox out of the way and put it aside with everything you've taken out so far. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor, then use a flathead screwdriver to loosen the clamp around the air hose. Okay, so the air filter housing is completely out. Make sure to keep everything organized so it's easy to put back once you're done. Now let's tackle the windshield washer reservoir. So this 13mm bolt here on the left hand corner here holds both windshield and coolant tanks together. So remove that bolt. There's also another 13mm bolt holding down the windshield washer reservoir. It's hard to tell on camera, but it's down there towards the right. You won't miss it if you look in there. After a bit of struggling, I finally got that one bolt out. I recommend using an extension to make life easier. Okay, so now there are two electrical connections going to the windshield water pumps. There are two water pumps and there's two connections. So disconnect those two connections before lifting up the tank. I'll try my best to show it on camera here, but it's quite visible and you won't miss it. Once disconnected, gently lift out the tank. You may notice here that there are two windshield washer connections that I haven't disconnected yet, and I will explain why. This is a 17-year-old vehicle, and a lot of the plastics and rubbers are very brittle and have started to disintegrate, so I don't want to risk breaking anything. So I decided not to pull the connections out. You may do so at your own risk, but I will not in this demonstration. I'm going to place the tank above the engine so it's out of the way. Let's take the remaining two bolts off the coolant reservoir now. Now let's take off the AC accumulator, which is the silver cylinder looking thing. This is held to the coolant tank by a 10mm bolt, so take that off. There's also a connection on the AC accumulator, so make sure to unplug that. There's a metal bracket that holds the accumulator in place, so pull that bracket out once you've taken off this 10mm bolt. Then it would be easier to push the accumulator out later on. This is the bracket I'm talking about that's holding the accumulator in place. So now we're officially ready to take the coolant tank out. But before that, I just want to move the stabilizer bar out of the way. So just unscrew one bolt and push it in so it doesn't get in the way of removing the coolant reservoir. Now just gently shimmy the tank out. You'll notice that there are two hoses that are still attached to the tank. One hose connects to the radiator. The other one is an expansion drain hose. Unless you are replacing the coolant reservoir, you don't need to take it out. In my case, like I mentioned before, I'm replacing the heater valve control. This is the heater valve control, right in there. It's very easy to replace. You'll need some pliers or hose clamp removal tool. All you gotta do is unplug the electrical connection to the valve control, then unscrew the housing that's held by a 10mm bolt. There's also a small air hose that you need to disconnect, but be very gentle because it's very brittle. And then of course, you need to remove those 3 coolant hoses, which can be a pain if you don't have the right tools. So make sure to get a decent set of pliers or a hose clamp removing tool. Coolant will drip out of the hoses when you remove them, so make sure to catch it and dispose of them properly. This is the old valve. The hoses were not the issue here. There was a small hairline crack at the top of this valve which caused my leak. Now I installed the new one and there are no leaks whatsoever. It's perfect, so I'm really happy. When it comes to buying the valve control, it costed me about $50 Canadian. This is the one I bought, and this is all you pretty much need unless you suspect the whole system is not functioning properly. The image here is the whole valve control system, which includes a new bracket with hose and electrical connection. This would run you about $200 Canadian. I just unclipped the old valve control off the bracket and installed the new one. That's all I did, but you may need to buy a whole system like this depending on what issue you got. If you have any questions, please comment down below and ask. I will try my best to help you out. Also, for really good advice, check out Facebook groups for these vehicles. They were the ones that pointed me in the right direction with this issue. Hope this video was helpful. See you all next time.